Hey guys, how are you doing? I am so glad that you were able to get access to my free mini course module on self-care, which I'm titling Self-Care is Not Selfish. It's not selfish. So first, let me start off by saying self-care is not selfish, okay? Society has almost convinced us that anything that involves taking good care of ourselves must somehow be rooted in selfishness, and that is simply not true. So, what is the definition of self care? It simply means taking care of oneself. Pretty straightforward, right? Yet, it is still so shocking to see how many of us intentionally put this into practice to promote our overall well being. Let's do a quick exercise, okay? Close your eyes right now and think of the last time you intentionally, purposefully said to yourself, "Hey, Dami, it's time you set time aside for yourself and practice good self care." What exactly did you do? Think about that for a minute. If you're like many others, you're probably coming short up on a long list of things or activities you freely engage or specifically do for self-care. Not just fillers, not busy work, not just trying to do things here and there, but I'm sure you're coming up short on like a very long list of things that you do. Our society almost celebrates overworking to our detriment more than emphasizing self-care activities. So recently, I went on an informal survey asking some of my physician colleagues about what self-care activities they were engaging in. It was actually quite enlightening to see that even physicians struggled with that question. A lot of them started with the kind of look, Because in medical school, residency, medicine in general, mostly taught about patients coming first. And while that is good, it's not a bad thing in and of itself. Hearing about physician well-being or self-care in general was not very popular during training. So many doctors have programmed themselves with a work till you drop mentality. And I believe it's so important for everyone to prioritize self-care. I'm sure most of us have heard the saying, "It is impossible to pour from an empty cup." Yet many of us do that to ourselves over and over and over again, and wonder why we remain emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausted and depleted, which really does nothing but make us show up as our most suboptimal selves. So we falsely convince others that we must push our limits to a point of unreasonable exhaustion to prove our worth and value, when in fact we end up doing the exact opposite because we're burned out, we're tired, we're fatigued, we're cranky. And many of us end up taking better care of our cars, our homes, our things than we take care of our actual selves, and that needs to change. So for those that don't know, I had my own bout of burnout at the height of the pandemic when the COVID numbers were skyrocketing nonstop. I finally hit a wall and decided enough and I needed to take better care of myself. I just decided it's time to take care of yourself. So what worked for me? I took stock of my life and my time and decided I needed to spend at least 10% of my day. If we do the math, it's about 2.4 hours in my day on self-care activities in different ways, different methods, and started practicing physical and mental care with stress-reducing strategies and indulging in things that I truly enjoyed without attaching any guilt feelings to it. So what did that look like for me? Few things I did. Number one, I started being more consistent with my power hour every morning. And that for me means waking up early before my kids got up, before the house gets boisterous, go into my little closet. I'm a person of faith, I'm a Christian, so read my Bible, do a lot of prayer, a lot of introspection, a lot of meditation, and started getting a lot of affirmations in the Bible that aligned with this prioritizing rest philosophy and mentality, because I realized that rest was productive. I was more productive when I was well rested. Second thing I did is I started exercising more, increasing my physical activity. got into water aerobics. I didn't get to continue because my work schedule kind of interrupted with the times, but it was so fun. I started eating better, eating cleaner. I lost about 20 pounds last year without even trying to, honestly. I just started making changes little by little, because I realized garbage in, garbage out, right? If I poured junk in me, then I was going to get junk out. It's just that simple. It was no fancy plan. It was just eating right, eating clean. And I started to feel better. I also started practicing self-compassion. And what is that? It just meant being kind and gracious to myself. I got rid of the hero complex as a physician, because we were hearing doctors are heroes and all that. And I got rid of that completely because I decided I'm not a hero. I did not learn to be a hero. I'm just a human being. And that's what I chose to be, a human first, before anything else. I wanted to live up to that reality and held myself to that. You're a human being, so be kind to yourself. I intentionally disconnected work from work. Like when I was at work, I was full in, and when I was not, I'm not. I knew for me to be able to be at my best self, I had to balance my work life with my home life well, and it was something that was very necessary for me. I started defining my core values, which I'm not going to go into that, but my core values, what was important to me, and lived up to those things. I got into coaching. Oh my goodness, that was a huge highlight for me. I got coached, I got my coach, and that helped me a ton. I highly recommend that. Life coaching, whatever kind of coaching it is, but coaching was amazing for me. I started having regular mani-pedis every 3 weeks. Did my massage, pursuing passion projects that interested me at church, at work, personally, like this course that I'm doing right now. Spending more time with people that motivated me and inspired me through books, through podcasts, videos, through real life people. I started doing that more intentionally. I attacked clutter and disorganization in my life. I remember I was like, I need clean. It needs to be well organized, because cluttered mind, cluttered space, cluttered life is what I believed. I started minimizing my social media interaction, buffering, just scrolling through, just numbness, just mindlessly scrolling through without intention. Cut back on that. I started outsourcing my services like laundry, housekeeping, those kind of things. I was doing that, but I became more consistently doing that because I wanted the house organized and all that. So I was not going to have time to do all that. So I took power naps. That became important, like 10, 15 minutes. I started finding ways to just throw those in, and they energized me. My hairstylist appointments were also important. I created space away from negative people and situations. I started setting boundaries. I didn't have to be everywhere at all times. Toxicity was not something I wanted to get into. I focused on my why. I started focusing on my why am I here, my purpose, my mission, clarified all that, which kind of gave me a renewed sense of self. I felt like I had rediscovered myself. My family time with my husband, my children was definitely something else that I got into and was more intentional about protecting and spending time, quality time with them, not just quantity. And I decided I needed to love other people, and to love other people, I had to start loving myself more, which as a Christian, that was the first commandment God gave us, is to love God and then love other people like I love myself. So it started with me. So by doing all that, I was in fact taking my power back and letting go of things that no longer served me. So when people are stressed out and burned out, it's important to give them that autonomy. And what exactly is autonomy? It's not independence or just freedom. Rather, it's taking a sense of control over your circumstance, because you can't control every circumstance, right? But if you have that sense of control of, okay, at least I can control this part. I can't control everything, but this part, that really feels empowering. And there's studies that have actually shown that when people have autonomy, they feel more empowered. So what does this mean? It means you just have to find what works for you. So I have a mini free worksheet attached to this course that you will see about 50 examples of what you can do to practice self-care if you're kind of coming up short. And remember, these are just examples, not prescriptions. You got to find what works for you and just do it. Invest in yourself. Your return on investment is invaluable. Your present self, your future self will thank you for it. And there are a million ideas out there about what self-care means. So you just discover what your personalized self-care menu looks like for you. And part of the worksheet is you will design a worksheet, a menu actually, that, breaks it apart into maybe like little 5-minute, 10-minute, breaks it up. You don't always have 2.5 hours block, but you can maybe do 5 minutes of something here, but have your own prescription of what works for you. And you have those ready in moments when you need some extra love and extra self-care. So all of that to say, self-care is really the best care. It's not selfish. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. So fill up so that you can pour out and have a overall increased sense of well-being that will make you show up as your most optimal and the best version of yourself. So guys, I hope this was helpful to you. Go on ahead, get the worksheet, work through it, and I hope you enjoyed this free module. I hope it helps clarify some things, but if you want to learn more, go ahead and get onto the website and get some more information. Thanks for logging in, guys.